Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host, Red. And video today from Alexander Grace.
There was a woman that wanted to find out what it was actually like to live as a man and what
This will be Norah Vincent, I bet.
Yeah.
she reported.
I've covered her story quite a bit of times.
Should wake all of you up. She cut her hair, she lowered her voice, and she lived as Ned for over a year. And what happened to her is the part that most people don't like hearing. After the experiment, she had a severe depressive breakdown and she checked herself into a psychiatric facility. Years later, she chose medically assisted in Switzerland. Her name was Norah Vincent. These are the harsh realities that she said men endure. Number one.
I'm going to watch this summary, but actually everybody should read her book. Read the original book. Buy multiple copies. Buy one for yourself. Buy one for each of the women in your life. It is so powerful coming from a woman to speak about the male experience. The book is so good specifically because she decided to live these 18 months as a man to do this experiment because she fully expected to be infiltrating the patriarchy and to get like front row seats to the privilege and the sexism and the misogyny. And instead, what she found was brutal discrimination against men. It's what makes the book so good, so effective at getting men's experience across to women.
Can you imagine trying to set up a whole experiment to prove one thing and then ended up proving the total opposite?
Because it came from a woman. The book is called Self-Made Man by Norah Vincent. It's so good. Everybody should read it. But let's go through this. Let's hear the summary.
1, dating is a gauntlet. As a woman, you naturally get approached. As a man, you do the approaching. You risk rejection every single time. You risk being humiliated every single time. And she literally was stunned by how cold women could be to men that they weren't interested in. She said being a man felt like you're guilty until proven innocent, boring until proven valuable. You don't get any grace, you get tested. Number 2.
But that's the other side of it. You can also be a man of means and a man of presence where you can kind of show these things without having to speak. Sometimes they just see it.
She nailed it. Yeah, that's exactly right. Women have no idea what it's like to exist without an inbuilt value, to just have default social approval in all circumstances at all times just because you're a woman. That's all they've ever known. They don't know what it's like to not have that. I think they imagine that a man's experience must start like as identical to a woman's experience, but then all the things that men can do that women can't, it just adds on to it. And that's why they have this perception that men...
That makes total sense. Again, women have literally no empathy. They cannot figure out that the male experience is totally different from them.
Are so privileged because they just think men are just getting the bonus versions of masculinity. They don't realize that we get none of the benefits of femininity. None. They have no conception of how privileged they are. They don't know what it's like to exist in a body that nobody considers as having any inherent value. To live as a man where everything has to be proved, where you have to suffer and stomach the humiliation of performing your value, demonstrating it, contributing resources, doing everything that you can to make everybody else's life better, proving yourself in that regard just so that you can get a seat at the table. I'm telling you, women, they can't relate to what it's like to be a man, to be born as a man, to be starting so far behind the starting line. And she's right. Dating these days for men is like a masochistic humiliation ritual. And it's fucking heartbreaking because there's so many guys, just good guys out there who are like, I just want a girlfriend. I just don't want to be lonely. I want to spend my life with somebody. I want to have children. And that seems like such a normal thing to want, but they have to suffer so much rejection and humiliation to get there. I mean, the asymmetry is extraordinary, right? Like you've got some guy who's just busting his ass at the gym, getting a good body before he goes to hustle at work. He's trying to make as much money as he can. He's ambitious. And then in his free time, he's like reading and studying and learning about the world, clarifying his values, trying to be the best man that he possibly can be.
And what do women do? Scroll TikTok and wait for influx of attention.
Because he knows that's like the bare minimum effort that he needs to be putting in to even get a chance of dating somebody halfway decent. And it's difficult to stomach how unequal it is when, like, after he's done all of that effort putting so much work into himself, he then has to place himself into a position where a woman is judging his value. She's deciding whether or not he is worthy of her. But what did she do all day? Was she at the gym? Was she hustling? Or was she doom scrolling on Instagram and looking up beauty tips? The inequality in effort, like the asymmetry is just so enormous. But the man still has to prove himself to her, not because of anything she's done. She hasn't earned that position, to be able to place herself above him and to judge him. It's just because she's a vagina. Woman. It's fucking crazy. And men can feel that it's crazy, even if they go through it, they stomach it, they know deep down it's kind of fucked up. And women have no idea. They have no clue what men are going through.
Men live in an emotional straitjacket. If a man shows real pain, people get uncomfortable. He's told to man up. He gets looked at differently, even by women who say they want a sensitive man. She said it felt like a man's value wasn't who he was naturally. It was what he could do, what he could provide, and what he could endure. Number 3.
The book itself is fascinating because she spends time with lots of different men in different contexts. She joins a bowling league. She joins a men's monastery, a men's sales team. She goes on like men's retreats. And she finds as a woman that the amount of emotional repression amongst all of these men, even at the men's retreats where they're meant to be there to open up about their emotions, she just found it suffocating. She couldn't handle it. And she directly attributed her psychotic breakdown afterwards. In the aftermath of this experiment, she attributed that to the isolation and the loneliness that she felt living as a man. Women pay lip service to wanting men to open up, but it's bullshit. Women are attracted to stoicism. They don't want to take care of the emotional needs of their man. And when...
Guys, I might talk a lot or look like I'm talkative here, but in real life, I don't really speak much. I'm pretty silent overall. Even when I go out with women or on dates and stuff, I don't care to ask women about their background or anything because I don't really care enough to ask women questions. I'm just there to kind of enjoy my time with eating and maybe a little bit of conversation and just move on. So
when they say, I want a man who's comfortable with emotions, she's talking about her emotions. When she says she wants an emotional man, she's asking for a man who's going to be able to be there for her while she's going through stuff. That's what she means. Women have the nerve to blame the patriarchy for men's emotional repression. And they claim that they actually like vulnerable, sensitive, emotional men. They're lying. They're not out there sexually and romantically rewarding the most feminine, emotional men. They're fucking the same guys they always have. And it is so manipulative to blame the patriarchy for men's emotional repression because they're just distracting from their own role in all of this. They don't want to talk about how much they directly benefit from men's stoicism. Because our entire civilization, all of the physical labor, all of the military, it is all built on men squashing their feelings. That's what's necessary. All of that hard work, all those dangerous jobs that need doing, women know that they can't be performed by weak, emotionally vulnerable, sensitive men. And women know that they need men to continue to do that. They encourage the repression. They would be terrified of living in a society where men just stopped work to talk about their feelings. How quickly the shame would come back and the whipping. You get back to work. In their minds, men as a collective absolutely exist to provide and protect for women. And they believe they're entitled to that just as a default. And that's why they are not interested in extending the same emotional freedoms that women enjoy to men. Absolutely not, because that's going to threaten that.
Invisibility. Unless a man is high status or extremely attractive, he's background noise. He gets no compliments, no smiles, and no validation at all. Not like the women, nothing. And on top of that, she literally felt the constant pressure of being seen as a threat, a creep, just for existing in public. Imagine walking...
me being Asian and like 5'7", I don't think very many women see me much of as a threat. It's kind of nice in a sense, but I definitely understand the feeling.
around, feeling like you're automatically suspicious. That messes with your head. Number 4.
Yeah, I very rarely speak to women that I don't know anymore. I'm just over it. I can't be bothered dealing with the inherent feeling of suspicion that emanates from women. It just like it feels undignified, like it's beneath me to have to try and prove my innocence. And it's because I've seen the contrast because when I'm with Emily or when I'm with my daughter, it is so easy to socialize with women. I can chat and laugh with female strangers, like it's no effort at all because women and children act as a kind of social validation ticket, that proves that you're safe to other women. And that sucks when you think about it. Like, I don't think about it much.
That's exactly how it was viewed back in the day in like the early 90s and stuff, right? If you weren't married, you weren't civilized yet. You were still savage in a sense. So until you got married, there was a lot of positions and careers opportunities that weren't allotted to you until you got married.
Much anymore. I'm kind of over it. And I get that women are using gender in that instance as a heuristic to just, keep themselves safe. I understand why it's in place. But it sucks, even if we agreed that it was necessary to treat all men as guilty until proven innocent and that it's right to treat them with suspicion, like even if we collectively agreed that this was the safest approach, it would make it so much easier to stomach if there was some actual acknowledgement of the toll that takes on regular men having to deal with that stigma all of the time. And I truly think that women are missing out, approaching things in this way because when I'm out by myself and I run into other men, like strangers, like if I'm hiking or something like that and I run into a guy, I find conversations with men like that so easy, so effortless. We don't have to deal with any of that stuff.
Dude, like as soon as if I'm hiking or on a run or something and I see somebody, you know what I do? Boom. I haven't came across a single guy that didn't give me a fist bump. Right? Like I put a fist bump, ready to bump him. He's running across from me. Boom. Bump every damn time. It's just how it is. Us guys are just so easily, I guess, it's easy for us to communicate with each other or even just say hi because we don't have to say anything. We can just do very stupid gestures to each other. Like us guys just, like how many times have you said hi to other men by just going, if it's someone within my age or younger, or someone's older, I go downwards. I go, like that's more of a respect thing, like usually when someone is like decently older than me, I always go, like as a respect, like a slight bow.
It's just like, hey man, like what's going on? Then we can just chat about some interesting shit and then be on our way. I've also found, this one's fascinating, is that men are significantly more interesting when they are away from their girlfriends. That's not always the case. That's not like a universal, but I have seen this. Maybe you guys have too. But if you're in a
mix, because we get to act goofy and say whatever the hell we want to say without having like to worry about someone thinking we're dumb or something, or like to question our masculinity. Because some of the things we say amongst our boys are definitely gay.
Company setting. You might be thinking, oh man, this conversation's so boring. Like no one's saying anything that's of any interest. But then, you excuse yourself and then you just go and have a conversation with a guy away from his wife, just the two of you. Then suddenly the conversation becomes way more interesting. I don't know what that is. They're just, I guess they're like nervous to just be themselves around their partner maybe, or they're censoring or something.
This, again, I'm bringing back the Simpsons. It reminds me of the Simpsons episode of when Homer got the football tickets, the Super Bowl tickets. How all men were like, oh, there's no women here. And then they all just let their gut out, like douche, douche, douche. And then a woman bus driver comes in and they all suck their gut back in. I feel like this is very similar to that.
Something. But I'll still do that. Like if I'm in a mixed company setting and two women are just dominating and they're talking about something I'm just not interested in, I might just be like, hey man, should we check out the other room? Should we head outside for a bit? Some guys are confused and some other guys are like, oh yeah man, let's do that.
Male hierarchy is real. Men test each other. Confidence, dominance, and their boundaries. If you don't push back.
We don't test. We just kind of live life and we see things, that's the test.
You get eaten alive, you get bullied, and then you get disrespected. Some men learn to harden up because that's how you survive in male spaces. Number 5.
I actually hate this aspect of masculinity. I understand what purpose it served in our evolution, but that testing each other, that pushing for
Teasing.
dominance, establishing the hierarchy, that brings me back to my high school years or like my early 20s when everyone was just so insecure. I don't miss it at all. Like,
I agree with you. I agree with Alex on this one. But as I got older, the way the hierarchy and everything kind of lined up was just off of merits. I felt like, because nowadays it's, oh, what job you have, what have you done in your life, do you have kids and stuff, and then the hierarchy just kind of lays itself that way.
Like men jostling with each other for position. I'm so glad to have left that behind. I don't really deal with that in my life anymore. It's probably one of the...
Yeah, I actually don't deal with that in my life at all. Again, my friends come together and the hierarchy's already been set by our accomplishments in life, in a sense.
Reasons why I turned down so many podcast requests. I just don't want to deal with like a male ego that's like, trying to be better than me or something like that. I don't like that. That shits me, that aspect of masculinity.
No, I 100% agree with Alex on that one. I get invited here and there, and like people tell me to go on other people's podcasts. I don't want to battle other men trying to be who's more macho and stuff, because I really don't care, right? I'm here for you guys. I'm here for to give you guys advice, to learn with you guys, to give some of my insights, maybe a little bit more Asian cultured person, but that's about it.
But I think it's probably natural that you experience it more in the early stages of your life. And then as an adult, you start to curate your world around you so that, your position, your place in the hierarchy is somewhat secure. You're not filled with the same self-doubt, or you just surround yourself with people who love.
I'm sure everybody still has some self-doubt. I mean, I have self-doubt still here and there, but it makes sense that you still question yourself frequently, because you kind of want to check on yourself.
Who don't test you, who are on your team, people who want to cooperate with you rather than compete with you. I honestly think that need for the hierarchy, that would be one of the things I would most dislike if I ever got sent to prison, because then suddenly I'm in a new environment. I have to find out where I sit, It
is interesting. When I was in jail in Tennessee, the hierarchy was so weird, because I was literally the only Asian person. So it's not like I can join an Asian group, You know what I ended up joining? The black group. I the black community took me in. They're just like, yeah, he's cool. He's one of us. Trust me, a lot of these people, black, white, Hispanics, probably have never seen an Asian person in their lives. I was probably the first Asian person they ever seen. They're just like, wait, you're in here with us? What the fuck did you do?
In the hierarchy of men there, I'd have to push back if someone disrespects me and all of that bullshit. That just sounds like a fucking nightmare. It's one of the reasons why I'm such a strong advocate for men to settle down with a wife and a family.
I actually agree.
It's like a cheat code for life. I mean, it's what you're biologically designed to do, but it's so effective at giving you that experience of being the top of a hierarchy. And when you are top dog, you occupy that top status position, your brain rewards you. It constantly sends out just floods of positive chemicals and emotions reinforcing this, yes, you're the man. Because you're the head of the household, you're the king. Your wife loves you. Your children respect you. You're the one who's, establishing the values for the family, setting the boundaries, doing the discipline. In the house, you're the king.
He's not wrong, guys. As I make a little bit more money, as I buy more businesses, as I work harder and achieve more goals and stuff, yeah, I get a little bit more confident. I feel a little bit better. I feel like, oh yeah, I think I'm going in the right direction. It's oh yeah, I finally did that, and just those little things add up to be huge.
King, and you don't have to compete with anybody trying to steal your crown. There's no other men in the house unless you have a son. And that can be interesting too, because as they go through their teenage years, they'll get better and better, more competent. And if you're a good father, they're not going to resent you and try and compete with you. They're going to want to learn from you and cooperate from you. I don't think there's a better feeling for a son than being proud to be the son of your father. If you really admire and you look up to your...
Yeah. I can honestly say, yeah, I'm proud to be my father's son. And my father always has told me more recently, is yeah, He's proud of his kids. He's proud of the 3 kids that he has. Those are the 3 things that he loves most in life. And this is why he loved my mother so much before she passed, is because she gave him the 3 wonderful things in his life. Us kids, I guess.
Father, that's like the best thing for the male psyche. And in that kind of a relationship, you know, the day will probably come when the son is better than the father at a bunch of stuff. You know, he's kind of...
That day came for me, like more recent years, is when I've finally out-earned my dad, done a lot more things than my dad was able to do, even got my dad some things that he wasn't able to get himself, you know. And then my dad was just so happy. He wasn't happy that I was able to get him stuff. He was happy that I was able to take care of myself from now on. Like, he didn't, in his head, he was like, I don't have to worry about you anymore, in a sense. And that's a good parent, right? And like, again, I was raised by good family members, good father, good mother. Like, I have great examples of this. That's why I always push for families and stuff. Obviously, I get a little bit sidetracked, but when I literally look at my family and all of my background, it's like, it was pretty great. It was pretty great. There was, sure, shitty moments. Yes, agreed. There are always shitty moments, but overall, my family is a wonderful family.
Kind of taking on that new position. You know, he beats him at basketball or chess or whatever, and that could be a complicated moment for a father. There's probably some shame or some sadness.
God damn it.
There's probably also pride. Like, fuck yeah,
yeah. Can you imagine you know, you're like some basketball champ, and then all of a sudden you get old enough, and then your son beats you in basketball, and it's like, man, this mother.
Boy, he's even beaten his old man. You know, you're happy because he's not just some average guy. He's your legacy. That's the circle of life, man. It's fucking beautiful.
5.
It is.
The silent loneliness.
I haven't even experienced it myself, but I see it around me constantly. You know, like with my cousins and their kids and things like that. I'm like, I want that. I want that.
This was the one that ended up crushing her. She said that men suffer in silence. They don't talk because deep down they believe something horrible. Nobody actually wants to hear it, so they isolate themselves.
They don't.
That actually really annoys.
I don't even want to hear about my friends complaining. That's how bad it is. I'm a part of the problem, right? When my friends are like going through certain things that I feel like, what the fuck are you bitching about? You know, like, but obviously when it's like, so, you know, death in the family or some major things, I'm all for it. But when it comes to some little mundane thing, sometimes I'm just looking at them like, why the fuck are you bitching about this?
Annoys me. I'm going to give this woman the benefit of the doubt. Like, she seems great. She seems to get it. She seems sympathetic. But please do not ever say that men believe that no one wants to hear about their suffering. That makes it sound like men are delusional, like they're just crazy and just making this up. They've just arbitrarily decided to believe this thing. No,
even I admit, I don't want to hear my friends bitch and moan all the time.
No, that's not what's going on. Men don't believe that no one cares about their suffering. Men have noticed that no one cares about their suffering. Men are aware that nobody gives a shit. That's very different. That's not a belief, that's reality. And yes, it's fucking dark to realize that nobody's going to be there for you, because as a man, your value in the eyes of others is defined by what you are contributing towards them, not on you receiving things.
They bond around just activities, work, sports, projects. But when it comes to real emotional support, many men have none. And she described that as emotional malnutrition, a form of...
Like, I have it. I have my 2 best friends. They're wonderful emotional support. I just don't use them, right? Like, I don't really want to share my damn feelings all the time, nor do I even want to talk about the problems I have in my life. I just don't like sharing it. I feel like it's a burden to share my problems with them, because now they're going to feel a way because now they know the problem, right? If they don't know anything, everything's kind of a-okay in a sense. I guess that's how I see it in my head. Obviously, it's a bad way to think about things, but I'm just being honest.
Of starvation that most people never even notice. These are her last words. Men are suffering. They have different problems than women have, but they are not better off. They need our help, they need our love, and they need each other more than anything else. Rest in peace, Norah.
Oh, man. Yeah, that got me. That made me emotional. Yeah. Yeah,
A little bit.
absolutely. Rest in peace, Norah. I really wish that I could have met you. Your book was so good because you didn't pander, you didn't make men seem like they were angels, but you were real in what you went through and what you saw and described. And you told our story. And you did it with truth and courage and very sincere empathy. Your book really meant a lot to me. And so, yeah, I wish I could have met you. I wish I could have met you so I could say thank you. Like, your book was awesome. It really meant a lot to me.
No, there's very few people that are willing to sacrifice the things that they sacrifice to put themselves in other people's shoes. Shout outs to her. May she rest in power with the Godfather up there. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that. And see you guys next time. Ciao.